Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly. When was the last time you seriously thought about what you were eating specifically for the health and strength of your legs? Not your heart, not your weight, not your blood sugar, your legs. For many older adults, that question creates a pause, and that pause can reveal something important about how we think about aging and lower body strength. When people over the age of 60 begin noticing that their legs feel heavier, stairs become more difficult, standing up from a low chair requires more effort, or walking for long periods leaves them unusually tired, the natural reaction is often to say, "I'm getting older." And yes, aging can change muscle mass, strength, balance, recovery, and physical performance. But nutrition also plays an important role in supporting the systems that allow your legs to work properly. The food you eat provides the raw materials your muscles, nerves, blood cells, and other tissues need every day. And when your diet consistently falls short of certain nutrients, maintaining strength and mobility can become more difficult. Today, we're looking at 6 specific foods that provide nutrients connected with muscle function, energy metabolism, nerve signaling, oxygen transport, and protection against cellular stress. These aren't being presented as miracle foods. They aren't a replacement for exercise, medical treatment, or a balanced diet. Instead, think of them as targeted nutritional choices that may help support the systems your legs depend on. And we're counting them down from number 6 to number 1. The final food is something many people already have in their kitchen, have probably used for years, and may never have associated with muscle health. Once you understand the nutritional reasoning behind it, you'll understand why it deserves a place on this list. Before we get into the countdown, I want you to do something simple. Leave a comment and tell me your age and one way your legs have been affecting your daily life lately. Maybe stairs have become harder. Maybe balance isn't what it used to be. Maybe your legs become tired quickly. Or perhaps morning stiffness makes your first few steps of the day difficult. Your experiences can help highlight the questions older adults are asking about mobility and healthy aging. So let's begin. We're counting down from 6 to 1. Food number 6, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes earn their place on this list for a reason that goes beyond simply being considered a healthy carbohydrate. The first reason is glycogen. Every time you walk, stand up from a chair, climb stairs, or perform any movement that requires your leg muscles to produce force, those muscles need energy. One important source of that energy is glycogen. Glycogen is the stored form of glucose found in your muscles and liver. Think of it as a readily available fuel reserve. When your muscles need energy during physical activity, glycogen can be broken down and used to help power movement. As we get older, changes in muscle metabolism and physical activity can influence how efficiently our bodies handle and replenish these energy stores. That can contribute to feelings of fatigue during activity, particularly when overall nutrition and physical conditioning aren't adequate. This is where carbohydrate-rich foods can have a useful role. Sweet potatoes provide carbohydrates along with fiber, potassium, and other nutrients. Instead of thinking about carbohydrates as automatically being harmful, it's more useful to consider the source, portion, and overall dietary pattern. A whole sweet potato provides a slower digesting carbohydrate source than many highly refined foods. That makes it a practical option for people who need nutritious sources of energy. But there is another nutrient in sweet potatoes that deserves attention: potassium. A medium sweet potato can provide a substantial amount of potassium depending on its size. Potassium is an electrolyte involved in nerve transmission and muscle contraction. Inside muscle cells, potassium works together with sodium to maintain the electrical conditions necessary for normal cellular function. You can think of this system as part of the reset mechanism that allows a muscle cell to contract, relax, and prepare for the next signal. When electrolyte balance is disrupted, normal muscle and nerve function can be affected. This doesn't mean that eating more potassium automatically makes weak legs strong. But getting enough potassium as part of an overall nutritious diet is important for normal muscle and nerve function, and sweet potatoes are one convenient way to obtain it. Imagine an older adult who has spent years avoiding nearly all starchy foods because they believed every carbohydrate was harmful. Their overall diet may look healthy on the surface, but if they're consistently under-consuming nutritious carbohydrate sources, they may also be missing useful sources of energy and minerals. Adding an appropriately portioned sweet potato alongside protein, vegetables, and healthy fats can create a more balanced meal. The goal isn't to eat unlimited amounts, it's to provide your body with useful fuel. A simple way to prepare sweet potatoes is to bake them whole, leaving the skin on after washing them thoroughly. You can roast them until they're tender and serve them with a protein source and a small amount of healthy fat. That combination can make a satisfying meal while providing carbohydrates, fiber, potassium, and other nutrients. So remember the first lesson, your legs don't just need protein, they need energy. And they need the electrolytes involved in normal muscle and nerve function. That is why sweet potatoes take the number 6 position. Food number 5, sardines. Now I already know that some people will be skeptical about this one. Sardines aren't everyone's favorite food, but nutritionally, they offer a combination of nutrients that can be valuable for older adults. Most people hear sardines and immediately think about omega-3 fatty acids. And yes, sardines provide omega-3 fats. They can also provide vitamin D, depending on the product and serving. But there's another nutrient that makes sardines especially interesting for muscle and bone health: calcium. Canned sardines with edible bones can provide a significant amount of calcium. And calcium isn't only about your bones. Calcium also plays a central role in muscle contraction. Here's the basic process. When your nervous system sends a signal to a muscle fiber, a series of events occurs inside that muscle cell. Calcium is released from an internal storage area within the muscle. That calcium interacts with proteins involved in contraction and allows the muscle fiber to generate force. In simple terms, calcium helps turn the nerve signal into a physical muscle contraction. Without the appropriate calcium signaling, normal contraction cannot occur. This is one reason calcium intake matters for older adults. A serving of canned sardines with bones can provide hundreds of milligrams of calcium, although the exact amount depends on the brand and serving size. And sardines provide another nutrient that deserves attention: vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is involved in red blood cell formation, DNA synthesis, and normal nervous system function. Your nerves are responsible for carrying signals between the brain, spinal cord, and muscles. The myelin surrounding many nerve fibers acts like insulation around an electrical wire. When nerve function is compromised, communication between the nervous system and muscles can become less efficient. B12 deficiency can cause neurological problems, including changes in sensation and nerve function. Older adults are among the groups that can be at greater risk of inadequate B12 status because absorption can become less efficient with age. That doesn't mean everyone with leg weakness has a B12 deficiency, and having a B12 level within a laboratory reference range doesn't automatically mean that B12 is the cause of someone's symptoms. But maintaining adequate B12 is still important. This is one reason foods such as fish can be useful components of a balanced diet. Sardines can also be combined with other nutrient-rich foods. Try serving them with leafy greens, vegetables, or a baked sweet potato. If you don't enjoy sardines, other fish can provide some overlapping nutrients. The larger lesson is this: strong legs depend on more than muscle tissue alone. They depend on bones, nerves, minerals, circulation, and energy metabolism working together. And sardines provide several nutrients that support those systems. So sardines take number 5. Food number 4, blueberries. When most people hear blueberries, they immediately think about brain health. And blueberries certainly have a reputation for providing antioxidant and polyphenol compounds. But those same compounds are interesting when we talk about muscle health. Every time your muscles produce energy, biochemical reactions occur inside the cells. Those reactions can generate reactive oxygen species. Your body has antioxidant defense systems that help manage these molecules. But oxidative stress can increase when the production of reactive molecules exceeds the body's ability to neutralize them. Exercise itself can temporarily increase oxidative stress. That's not necessarily bad. In fact, some oxidative stress is part of the body's normal adaptation to exercise. The problem is excessive or poorly controlled oxidative stress. As we age, changes in antioxidant defenses, mitochondrial function, inflammation, physical activity, and other factors can influence how well tissues respond to stress. This is where foods rich in polyphenols become interesting. Blueberries contain anthocyanins, the pigments responsible for much of their deep blue-purple color. These compounds have been studied for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Research on berries and exercise has investigated whether their polyphenols may influence markers of oxidative stress, inflammation, recovery, and physical performance. The evidence is promising in some areas, but it is important not to turn that evidence into a miracle claim. Blueberries aren't going to repair severely damaged muscles overnight, but they can be an easy way to add nutrient-dense plant foods to your diet. There is another reason blueberries are interesting. Your muscle cells contain mitochondria. Mitochondria are often described as the powerhouses of cells because they help produce the energy needed for cellular activity. Healthy mitochondrial function is particularly important for tissues that have high energy demands. Skeletal muscle is one of those tissues. As we age, mitochondrial function can change. Researchers are studying whether dietary polyphenols can influence cellular pathways involved in mitochondrial health and recovery. Again, the goal isn't to think of blueberries as medicine. Think of them as one piece of a larger dietary pattern. A simple serving could be around 1 cup, depending on your nutritional needs. Fresh or frozen blueberries can both be convenient options. You can add them to plain Greek yogurt. You can blend them into a smoothie. You can combine them with oats, or simply eat them as part of a balanced meal or snack. The important point is consistency. One nutritious food doesn't transform your legs, but repeatedly choosing nutrient-rich foods can contribute to a better overall dietary pattern. So blueberries earn the number 4 position. Now we're moving into the top 3, and this is where the conversation gets especially interesting. Food number 3, eggs. When most people talk about eggs and muscle health, they immediately mention protein. And that's reasonable. Eggs contain high-quality protein and provide several important nutrients. But protein isn't the only reason eggs are interesting for your legs. There's another nutrient found especially in the yolk, choline. Choline is an essential nutrient involved in several biological processes. One of its roles is serving as a precursor for acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter involved in communication between nerves and muscles. Think about what happens when you decide to stand. Your brain sends signals through your nervous system. Those signals travel through nerves toward the muscles responsible for the movement. At the neuromuscular junction, the nerve communicates with the muscle. Acetylcholine is one of the key chemical messengers involved in this process. The muscle then receives the signal and contracts. This is an incredibly precise system. Brain, nerve, neuromuscular junction, muscle fiber, movement. As we age, changes can occur throughout this system. Researchers have studied age-related changes at the neuromuscular junction and their relationship with muscle performance and strength. That doesn't mean dietary choline alone can prevent age-related muscle loss. But it does show why adequate nutrition should include nutrients involved in nervous system function. A large egg contains roughly 140 to 150 milligrams of choline, depending on size. And most of that choline is concentrated in the yolk. This is one reason automatically throwing away egg yolks may mean throwing away some valuable nutrients. Whether eggs are appropriate for you depends on your individual health circumstances and overall diet. For some people, eggs can fit very comfortably into a balanced eating pattern. For others, dietary choices may need to be adjusted because of specific medical conditions. So don't interpret this as a universal prescription to eat a certain number of eggs every day. Instead, recognize eggs as a nutrient-dense food that provides protein, choline, vitamins, minerals, and other compounds. You can combine eggs with vegetables, greens, berries, or other foods from this list. Imagine a breakfast plate containing eggs, leafy greens, and a small serving of blueberries. You're not relying on one nutrient. You're creating a meal that provides protein, choline, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. That's the bigger picture. Nutrition works as a system. Food number 3 is eggs. Now we're getting to number 2. Food number 2, lentils. This is another food that doesn't always receive the attention it deserves. When people think about foods for stronger legs, they often jump straight to meat, protein shakes, or expensive supplements. But lentils offer a remarkably useful nutritional package, and one nutrient deserves special attention: iron. Iron is essential for hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the protein inside red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen through your bloodstream. Think about what your leg muscles need during a walk. They need energy, and aerobic energy production depends heavily on oxygen delivery. Your lungs bring oxygen into your body. Your heart pumps blood. Your red blood cells carry oxygen. Your circulation delivers it to tissues, and your muscle cells use that oxygen as part of energy production. Iron is part of that chain. If someone has iron deficiency anemia, oxygen carrying capacity can be reduced, potentially contributing to fatigue, weakness, shortness of breath, and reduced exercise tolerance. But there's an important distinction. Not everyone who feels tired has low iron, and taking iron without a confirmed need isn't a good idea. Excess iron can also cause problems. That is why persistent fatigue, weakness, or changes in exercise tolerance should be discussed with a healthcare professional. For people who need dietary iron, lentils can be a useful plant source. 1 cup of cooked lentils provides several grams of iron, along with protein and fiber. The exact amount depends on preparation. And because the iron in plant foods is non-heme iron, absorption can be influenced by what you eat alongside it. This is where vitamin C becomes useful. Pair lentils with foods such as lemon, tomatoes, bell peppers, or other vitamin C-rich foods. That can improve absorption of non-heme iron. For example, imagine a bowl of lentil soup with vegetables and fresh lemon juice. You have lentils providing iron, protein, and fiber. You have vegetables providing additional nutrients. And you have vitamin C from the lemon helping support iron absorption. But lentils have another advantage: fiber. A cup of cooked lentils can provide a substantial amount of dietary fiber. Fiber supports digestive health and provides fuel for beneficial gut microorganisms. Your gut microbiome produces various compounds that can interact with immune and metabolic processes throughout the body. Researchers continue to investigate the relationship between dietary fiber, gut health, inflammation, and healthy aging. Again, we should avoid oversimplifying the science. Eating lentils isn't a treatment for chronic inflammation, but regularly eating legumes as part of a balanced diet is associated with several markers of better dietary quality. And legumes are affordable, versatile, and easy to prepare in large batches. You can make lentil soup, you can add lentils to salads, you can combine them with vegetables, you can prepare them with herbs and spices, or you can use them as part of a balanced meal alongside other protein sources. Imagine an older adult who gets tired halfway through a grocery trip. There could be many possible reasons: poor conditioning, insufficient calories, anemia, medication effects, sleep problems, heart or lung conditions, muscle loss, or another medical issue. Nutrition should never be used to explain away unexplained symptoms. But when diet is inadequate, improving nutritional quality can be an important part of the overall picture. That is why lentils take number 2. Now we've reached number 1. And this is the combination that many people already know, but may not fully understand. Food number 1, turmeric with black pepper. Turmeric has been used for centuries in cooking and traditional food practices. Its bright yellow color comes largely from compounds called curcuminoids, including curcumin. Curcumin has attracted significant scientific interest because of its interactions with cellular signaling pathways related to inflammation and oxidative stress. One pathway that researchers frequently discuss is NF-κB. NF-κB is a group of proteins involved in regulating genes related to immune and inflammatory responses. You can think of it as one of the control systems involved in cellular inflammation. When inflammatory signaling becomes chronically elevated, it can influence numerous processes throughout the body. Researchers are studying how chronic inflammation may interact with muscle loss and age-related changes in physical function. There are also molecular pathways involved in muscle protein breakdown. Two names you may encounter in the scientific literature are MRF1 and atrogen-1, also known as MAFBX. These proteins are involved in processes that help regulate the breakdown of muscle proteins. But here's where we need to be careful. It would be an oversimplification to say that turmeric simply turns off muscle loss. Human muscle biology is much more complicated than that. Muscle strength depends on resistance training, protein intake, energy intake, hormones, physical activity, sleep, illness, inflammation, nerve function, and many other factors. Curcumin is one nutritional compound being investigated within that much larger system. Studies have examined curcumin supplementation and markers of inflammation, oxidative stress, muscle soreness, recovery, and physical performance. Some results are encouraging, others are mixed, and supplementation studies cannot automatically be translated into a specific dose of culinary turmeric for every person. There is another interesting issue with curcumin: absorption. Curcumin in its natural form has relatively low bioavailability. In other words, only a limited amount may reach the bloodstream in a form the body can use. This is one reason researchers have investigated compounds that can increase curcumin absorption. One of those compounds is piperine, which is found in black pepper. A well-known study published decades ago found that piperine substantially increased the bioavailability of curcumin in humans. The widely cited figure was approximately 2,000%. That finding helped fuel significant interest in the combination of curcumin and black pepper, but this does not mean that adding black pepper to turmeric creates a guaranteed treatment for muscle weakness. It simply means that piperine can dramatically alter curcumin absorption under certain conditions. That's an important distinction. Curcumin is also fat-soluble, which is why it is often consumed with a meal containing some dietary fat. You might add turmeric and black pepper to eggs. You could stir turmeric into lentil soup. You could add it to roasted vegetables, or you could use it as a seasoning in a balanced meal. There's no need to turn food into a complicated daily ritual. The bigger principle is consistency with an overall nutritious diet. And before we finish, let's look at how these 6 foods fit together. Sweet potatoes provide carbohydrates and potassium that support normal energy metabolism and muscle and nerve function. Sardines provide protein, calcium, B12, and omega-3 fats, depending on the product. Blueberries provide anthocyanins and other polyphenols that are being studied for their effects on oxidative stress and cellular health. Eggs provide high-quality protein and choline, along with several other nutrients. Lentils provide plant-based protein, iron, fiber, folate, and other nutrients. And turmeric with black pepper provides curcuminoids and piperine, compounds that have been studied for their effects on inflammatory and oxidative pathways. Notice something important. This isn't really 6 isolated foods. It's a nutritional pattern. You're supporting several different systems at the same time: muscle energy, nerve communication, oxygen delivery, mineral balance, antioxidant defenses, protein intake, and overall dietary quality. That's the real lesson. There isn't one food that magically reverses aging. There isn't one ingredient that guarantees stronger legs. And there certainly isn't a food that should replace medical evaluation when an older adult develops sudden, severe, or unexplained weakness. But there is something powerful about consistently giving your body the nutrients it needs. So let's turn everything into a simple framework. Sweet potatoes can be included several times a week as a nutritious carbohydrate and potassium source. Sardines can be included periodically as a source of protein, calcium, B12, and omega-3 fats. Blueberries can be enjoyed regularly as a convenient source of anthocyanins and other plant compounds. Eggs can provide protein and choline, with the yolk containing much of the choline. Lentils can be included several times a week for iron, protein, fiber, and other nutrients. And turmeric with black pepper can be used as a flavorful addition to meals. The exact portions and frequency should depend on your individual nutritional needs. If you have kidney disease, certain heart conditions, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems, take blood thinners, or use other medications, don't assume every food or supplement is appropriate for you. Some nutrients and concentrated supplements can interact with medications or medical conditions. That's why personalized medical advice matters. And remember something else. Food is only one part of maintaining strong legs. Resistance training is extremely important for maintaining and building muscle. Walking can support mobility and cardiovascular health. Balance exercises can help reduce fall risk. Adequate protein matters. Sleep matters. Hydration matters. Managing chronic health conditions matters. And getting unexplained weakness evaluated matters. Think of nutrition as one foundation supporting all those other habits. If you've noticed your legs becoming weaker, don't automatically assume that nothing can be done. At the same time, don't assume that one food will fix the problem. Start by looking at the bigger picture. What are you eating? How much protein are you getting? Are you eating enough overall? Are you consuming fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and other nutrient-rich foods? Are you moving your body regularly? Are you getting enough sleep? And if your strength has changed significantly, have you talked with a healthcare professional? Those questions can lead to much more useful answers than simply saying, "I'm getting older." Because your legs are not just muscles. They're an entire system. Your brain sends the command. Your nerves carry the signal. Your neuromuscular junction passes the message. Your muscles generate force. Your blood delivers oxygen and nutrients. Your mitochondria help produce energy. Your bones provide structure. And your diet supplies many of the raw materials required by those systems. That is why the goal shouldn't be to find a miracle food. The goal is to build a nutritional pattern that supports the entire system. And these 6 foods can be part of that pattern. Sweet potatoes for energy and potassium, sardines for calcium, B12, protein and healthy fats, blueberries for plant compounds and antioxidants, eggs for protein and choline, lentils for iron, protein and fiber, turmeric with black pepper for curcumin and piperine. 6 foods, 6 different nutritional advantages. One bigger goal, supporting healthy aging and maintaining the strength and mobility that allow you to keep doing the things you enjoy. If this information gave you a new way to think about your diet and your legs, share it with someone who might benefit from hearing it. And leave a comment telling me which of these 6 foods you already eat regularly. Are sweet potatoes already part of your meals? Do you eat sardines? Do you keep blueberries in the freezer? Do you eat whole eggs? Do you make lentil soup? Or do you regularly use turmeric and black pepper? Your answer may help someone else discover a simple food they hadn't considered before. And if you've been experiencing persistent weakness, difficulty walking, frequent falls, numbness, sudden changes in strength, or unexplained fatigue, don't try to solve the problem with food alone. Talk with a qualified healthcare professional and find out what's really happening. Nutrition can support your health, but the right diagnosis comes first when something has changed significantly. The scientific references behind the nutritional concepts discussed here should always be reviewed carefully, especially when making decisions about supplements, medications, or major dietary changes. Use this information as a starting point for better questions. Take those questions to your doctor or registered dietitian. You deserve to understand what is happening inside your body and what steps you can safely take to support your health. Your age does not define everything your body is capable of. There are many things you can influence: the foods you choose, the movement you do, the habits you maintain, the questions you ask, and the consistency you bring to all of them. Take care of your legs, take care of your nutrition, and most importantly, take care of yourself. You're worth the effort.